Here's the thing, and this is the core premise of today's rant. Imagine finding the most profound, soul-stirring awe in a universe that's completely godless. Sounds contradictory, right? I can hear the Christian trolls' keyboards clacking now, saying, how can atheists be happier if they face oblivion? This video will challenge everything you thought you knew about wonder, revealing how transcendence manifests not through divine revelation, but through the pure, unadulterated, empirical world around us. Today we're going deep into the exhilarating, mind-bending reality of finding genuine, profound awe in a universe that doesn't care if you tithe. We're talking about the secular sacred. Welcome to Strike Back. I'm Toothless Grin Kim. So, let's start with a moment we've all had, regardless of your spiritual plumbing. Ever felt that profound sense of wonder? That shiver down your spine? That sudden realization that you are tiny and everything is huge, but you couldn't quite attribute it to something divine? Maybe you were looking at the surface of Mars, or maybe you were watching a documentary on deep sea life, or maybe just saw your cat or dog achieve a truly impossible jump. For millennia, humans, faced with confusingly beautiful and terrifying things, like lightning or the invention of spreadsheets, threw their hands up and said, must be magic. Must be a guy in the sky. It's comforting. It's the original intellectual shortcut. But for us, the atheists, the skeptics, the ex-Christians, the antitheists, the secular humanists, we've cleared the table of all the supernatural explanations. We've traded something mythology for challenging reality. And here's the kicker, the part that drives the Christian trolls bananas. When you remove the dogma, the wonder doesn't shrink. It expands. It becomes sharper, deeper, and infinitely more valuable because it belongs to us and the real world, not an invisible entity who insists we wear certain fabrics. They think we live in a gray, joyless void because we don't believe in resurrection. They project their own deep-seated fear onto us. The fear that if their faith is false, life loses all meaning. It's like they're saying, if the Easter Bunny isn't real, how can you enjoy chocolate eggs? The answer is, my friends, the chocolate is still delicious, and the universe is still spectacular. And the best part, no assembly required. So let's define this concept, the secular sacred. It's the recognition that extraordinary, transcendental meaning doesn't require a supernatural source. It is how inherently human experiences and natural phenomena, the purely empirical, can evoke an overwhelming sense of transcendence. It's the awe you feel when contemplating the complexity of the human thumb, the perfect physics of a soap bubble, or the fact that a billion random molecules decided to collaborate and become you. When you strip away the comforting mythology, you don't diminish wonder. You sharpen its focus. The dogmatic view says, this mountain is beautiful because God made it. The secular sacred view says, this mountain is beautiful because 300 million years of geology, tectonics, and erosion made it. And the fact that I, A conscious arrangement of stardust can stand here and appreciate the epic process is fundamentally breathtaking. It means replacing kneeling with observing and replacing faith with understanding. Now, sometimes our critics accuse us of being called purely utilitarian or reductionist. They think we see a painting and just see pigments and canvas. They think we hear music and just see vibrating air. That's a gross simplification driven by intellectual insecurity. We understand the physical mechanism. Sure, I know the paint is red, but knowing how the paint works doesn't reduce the genius of Rembrandt. It enhances it. Knowing that music is pressure waves in the air makes the emotional impact of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony even more staggering. It is pure depth, not just data. We are looking for truth, and when we find it, it's far richer than any myth, because it is real. Now let's talk about the big guns, the cosmological shivers. This is where we show them how atheists believe the world was created through billions of years of glorious, brutal, beautiful physics. If you want scale, forget the Bible's cozy 6,000-year time scale. Pull up some Hubble images. Look at the pillars of creation. Look at the fact that light, traveling at the ultimate speed limit, has been traveling for so long that when it reaches your eye, you are literally looking into the past. We are exploring a universe where black holes devour suns, where dark matter is the invisible scaffolding holding galaxies together, and where galactic collisions are slow-motion ballots of incomprehensible forces. That, my friends, is transcendence. It makes the concept of a sky wizard worried about whether teenagers are premaritally holding hands seem petty, like profoundly, embarrassingly provincial. The wonder of these phenomena is rooted in the fact that they operate by majestic, predictable natural laws. The laws of quantum mechanics are strange and bizarre, but they are internally consistent, and we are using our magnificent, evolved brains to slowly, painfully decode them. This understanding connects us to a profound sense of humility and belonging. We aren't specially created rulers awaiting a golden ticket exit. We are the conscious result of this vast 13.8 billion year narrative. Every atom in my body and every atom in yours was forged in the heart of a dying star. We are stardust that woke up and started asking questions. If you want to know what is the point of the universe existing, the answer we find is look at it. The point is the emergent complexity, the beauty of physics, and the fact that we can observe it. That is the most inspiring answer you will ever find. It's hard-earned inspiration, too. It's atheist inspiration. No belief in a God necessary. But the secular sacred isn't just about gazing up at the sky and thinking, wow, space is big. It's also about looking around and thinking, wow, humans are weird, spectacular, and occasionally competent. Awe resides in the purely human. Think about the awe found in human connection, love, empathy, shared grief, and collective action. When a stranger risks their life for another, when an entire community rallies around a person in need, that requires no divine mandate. That is the triumph of biological and social evolution. manifesting as selflessness. It is real. It is verifiable. And it absolutely makes my teeth itch with joy, even though I'm missing half my teeth, hence the name Toothless Grin Kim. And let's talk about human creativity, art, music, literature, and yes, scientific discovery. When I listen to music, I'm not moved by the Holy Spirit. I am overwhelmed by the genius of a complex primate figuring out how to arrange frequencies in a way that triggers profound euphoria in other complex primates. Or consider the awe of scientific innovation. We mere mortals have eradicated diseases, mapped the human genome, and built devices that allow us to talk to people on the other side of the planet using invisible waves. That is the purest form of human transcendence. Our resilience in the face of adversity, our ability to innovate when disaster strikes, these are powerful, secular forms of awe. We don't need a miracle. We need engineers, doctors, and people who care. The religious mind often asks, if you are just chemical processes, how can you feel love? Because those chemical processes are amazing. They resulted in Shakespeare, pizza, and advanced plumbing. Love is more meaningful because we know it's beautiful, fragile, and essential product of our shared existence. We know atheists don't believe in God, and yet, somehow, we manage to fall in love, raise decent children, and organize potluck successfully. It's almost spooky. So how do we, the rationalists, keep this wellspring of wonder flowing, preventing the world from becoming that gray, cold place that the faithful predict for us? Awe isn't something to be passively received. It's actively sought and appreciated. First, mindful observation. Stop rushing. Look at the moss on the side of that brick wall. Really look at the intricate, self-sustaining ecosystem just outside your window. Look at the condensation running down your cold beverage. That vapor changing phase? That's physics flexing its muscles right there. The world is packed with tiny miracles, not supernatural ones, but phenomenal ones. Second, engagement with scientific knowledge. If you haven't recently read up on microbiology, do it. If you haven't watched a documentary on the life cycle of a star, go now. Understanding how complex systems work, from the economy to ecology, is the ultimate joy booster. It replaces the simple, easily dismissible answer, God did it, with the challenging, infinitely rewarding reality. Third, novelty and experience. Seek out things you haven't seen before. Travel, even if it's just to a different neighborhood. Engage with new art forms. Every time you push the boundary of your experience, you push the boundary of your capacity for awe. And this leads me to my final humorous point that really sticks in the craw of our proselytizing friends. Are atheists happier? Statistically, yes, often are, even though Christians would have you think otherwise. And why? Because we live in the real world. We worry about solvable problems, climate, poverty, misinformation, not about whether we are adequately appeasing a wrathful sky daddy invented in the Bronze Age. We find joy not in the promise of a heaven we can't prove, but in the beauty of the life we have right now. This knowledge frees us up to embrace wonder wherever it manifests, unfiltered by fear or obligation. To wrap this up today, the godless universe is not a sterile, mechanical void. It is a universe teeming with elegant complexity, profound beauty, and accessible and magnificent wonder. We don't subtract meaning. We eliminate the middleman and find authentic, self-generated human value. We have replaced the sacred text with textbooks, and the result is infinitely more awe-inspiring. Now, for those of you who belong here, my fellow atheists, ex-Christians, skeptics, anti-theists, secular humanists, and deconstructors, I want to know your thoughts. I've talked about cosmic awe and human connection, but what is the most profound secular sacred moment you personally experienced? Was it watching brain surgery? Was it a math problem finally clicking? Was it the birth of your child? Drop it in the comments below. Let's show the world just how rich and joyful the godless world truly is. And speaking of the comments section, you knew this was coming. To my tireless Christian trolls, to the keyboard warriors who have already paused this video 3 times to type repent and Jesus saves. I know you're about to rush down there to proselytize, project, gaslight, and criticize, asking me how I can possibly appreciate a sunrise if I don't think it was personally created for me by the creator of all things. Look, you can keep your faith, your eternal reward, and your rigid dogma. I'll stick with the empirical evidence, the joy of discovery, and the undeniable fact that the universe is so much cooler than your holy book described. I don't need an ancient testimonial to feel awe. I just need one good look through a telescope. Just try to remember that when you see us smiling. It's not a demonic look. It's not a demonic trick. We're just generally thrilled to be alive in this astonishing, terrifying, and completely unsupported reality. Now, if you enjoyed this joyous heathen rampage, hit that like button, subscribe to Secular Strike Back, and ring that little bell so you never miss me speaking truth over myth, facts over faith, and reason over delusion. And if you live in the United States and you would like to support this podcast, please consider making a $3 monthly donation by going to my Patreon and becoming a member. The link is in the description below. And Secular Strike Back now has its own newsletter. I also provided a link to that in the description if you would like to subscribe. Now, go out there and find your own secular sacred today. See you next time, you brilliant non-believers. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. This is Secular Strike Back. I'm Toothless Grin Kim. We're signing off, and I look forward to the next time we talk. Bye.